Hi, I'm Tony Madonia, and this is our fifth video in a series about selling your company. Our fourth video talked about the letter of intent, and that once the letter of intent is signed, it begins the due diligence period and process. This video focuses on what that process is. And what that is a disclosure to a potential buyer of the company's financial information, ownership information, business product, business process, customer list, vendor list, employee list, all of those things that affect how that company operates. It lets the buyer measure exactly what the company does, how it does it. Is it still interested in purchasing it? Is it still interested in purchasing it at the price of the parameters that are set out in the letters of intent? Typically, there's another round of negotiation that goes on during the due diligence process. Sometimes it's the buyer trying to drive the price down a little. Sometimes it's the seller trying to drive the price up a little. It includes forecasts of future fortunes for the company, and if those forecasts are positive and are substantiated, that can have the effect of raising the price that buyer and seller are now talking about. Due diligence process takes lots and lots of paper and a fair amount of time on the part of people on the buying side and people on the selling side. Someone has to accumulate all those contracts and the leases and the intellectual property and the employment agreements and land ownership and asset ownership and business ownership. And it's typically quite a bit. We like to start the due diligence process even before the company is offered for sale, because we have to disclose corporate minutes and bylaws. We have to disclose a lot of documents that frankly haven't been prepared in the ordinary course of business because nobody needed them. The company operated just fine without its minutes and bylaws updated. However, a buyer is going to want to make sure that those are accurate and those are current. And so there's some level of catching up to do as we go down that path. So our preference is to start this process early so that when we get into it for real with an actual buyer, there are no surprises and we know exactly what to expect and what's in place. Other things that are included in due diligence are information about the owners, information about what they want to do after the company is sold. Do they want to continue to work with the company? Do they want to ride off into the sunset proverbially? What are their plans? What does the buyer want them to do? Do they want them to stay on for a while? Do they want them to keep some ownership of the company as additional incentive to make it grow? The due diligence process is probably the longest and arguably the most arduous process in this whole sale transaction. There's a lot to do, and there's often another round of negotiation included in that process. That's the due diligence process. Presuming that goes smoothly, we then get to document the transaction, and documenting the transaction is the subject of our next video. I hope you'll join us for that. Thank you.